Hey, what is happening, everybody? Whoa, as you are witnessing behind us, California's getting out of control. You can see arrests being made. We were in the middle of recording tonight's episode when we decided to take a different approach. As we were recording, we started to watch that the 101 got closed down about, what was that, 352 or 652? 352 their time, 652 our time.
Wait, who's that guy that suddenly joined our podcast uninvited?
Yeah, right. Who is this guy? But while we were recording, you know, it got pretty intense. We were actually going to be talking about our trip to Ireland and such, but I know there's a lot of people that are out there that are showing this to you live. We're using one of the YouTube videos right now, coming to you from Agenda Free News. Actually, this might be a Fox one, but
oh, look at that! They've actually pushed their demarc all the way back up, so they got everybody pushed onto the on-ramp there now, so they're pretty close to clearing everybody out of there.
Yeah, it looks like at this point they have begun making arrests finally. As you see somebody being detained right now, we'll see as time goes along where this moved. But at one point, the 101 was completely shut down. They began spreading to the other side. I would venture there's probably north of 10,000 people down there right now, or close to it.
At least, yeah.
So these officers are pretty outnumbered. Hey, this guy's got a shirt that says Mexico. He may be going back there sooner rather than later.
Oh, you dropped. He's like, I dropped my flag. Not my flag.
But, you know, for those that are down there protesting right now, all you're doing is damaging a city, costing the federal government millions and millions more dollars. And honestly, at the end of the day, they're still going to be sending illegal immigrants back to the country they came from. So while you're allowing your city to be destroyed, if you even live in Los Angeles or California at all, that's one thing. The other aspect is, what was the last thing that Governor Newsom just said?
Well, he was. There's, you know, and I think this is political posturing. Is, you know, the governor and the mayor are saying we don't need any help, and you know, Trump, of course, is saying I beg to differ. All the live images right here, show that you need help.
They did get that 101 cleared, though. It looks like they might be able to open that up here again shortly. We'll see.
It's probably still going to be a while because you got all these yahoos up here. Like, they've pushed everybody onto the on-ramp there, but, you know, you got debris down there. You got stuff that's, like, probably going to have to be cleared out of there before they can open up. And there's still people. I mean, you got some detainees there. You got Homeboy. Yeah. Looks like they got another one on the ground back there as well, like right where they're walking out.
Now, if you're an illegal immigrant and you're down there protesting, getting arrested would probably suck.
Yeah. Yeah,
you are definitely going right back to the country you came from. No due process, probably necessary. But you can see, they're definitely gassing it up out there, trying to get people to move back. So I think what you're having now is you're seeing that probably 90% of the people that are out there just want to be out there because they want to be part of it. They want to just go down there and, you know, be a problem, be a pest. Congratulations to the men in blue that are out there, for these National Guard, some of these Special Forces units that are down there, for fixing the problem rather than letting it escalate. Like we talked about. Did I say escalade? There are no escalades down there. Rather than letting it escalate. But you can see, like I said, it's almost 8 o'clock Eastern, so they probably got about 3 hours of daylight left, and I'm venturing to say that somebody was like, we need to clear this up. Like, we need to calm this down before it gets dark, and you can't see what's happening around you, and people get more ballsy. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's not just a little bit of smoke.
That's not gas, though. That's just a suppressive smoke bomb. To that, you can tell they're trying to eliminate, like, the visibility from everybody up on top there. Because you saw that, like, they were pointing weapons up at people. They're probably taking bottles and stuff.
Well, I was going to say, at this point, I mean, you can't have enough eyes.
Right.
You hear gunfire, but I'm assuming those are either rubber bullets, unless they're. I don't see anybody like running away, so I don't think they're shooting gas canisters.
No.
Your choppers going above. So But for you guys that are out there watching this or paying attention to this at all, it is chaotic in Southern California. And I think the most important thing is that these officers, the National Guard that Trump's put out there, if they're in place, do their jobs and have every opportunity to stop this before it becomes a national issue, right? And that's what we talked about. Like, this is a copycat country that we live in nowadays, and all it takes is for one person to think it's a good idea, and your small town protest does the same thing.
Oh, I see a bottle. There's a bottle was thrown.
Yeah.
Little one.
Yeah, so those are 40 millimeter. Those are beanbag guns that those guys are holding, and then you could see guys with ARs right behind them with lethal cover back there. They are taking some sort of fire. They'll probably deploy a couple more of those. Cover the smoke screen, provide some additional cover there.
Yeah, and I can't see in that video, but it looks like you've got people forming on the other side as well.
Yeah, and they've
moved this. They've moved this line quite a bit. God, these guys down here, man, they actually look. Some of them look extremely casual for the scenario that they're in, which is great. Hopefully, these guys are some of the best, most well trained. And they prevent an accident from happening, whether it's somebody that gets ballsy and decides to do something that puts somebody at jeopardy, or even an officer making a mistake, right? Because it only takes one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was L.A. Mayor Karen Bass, who's a Karen through and through. But
a Karen through and through, huh?
Yeah, to me, this is talking about sending the National Guard there. To me, this is just completely unnecessary, and I think it's the Trump administration just posturing. I've spoken to the governor several times, blah, 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 but clearly you can see they do not have the resources that they need down there for this.
No, I don't think so either, at least in my opinion.
And these things do run out of steam, but, again, like we saw yesterday out there, like this became violent, and with this amount of people out there, well, this is pretty good. They've got pretty good containment. Oh, and they're moving now. Yeah, they're definitely pushing.
Yeah,
so they're done playing. Yeah. I heard somebody say, "Stop throwing shit." You got a couple
more detainees. Yeah, right now because of them throwing shit.
Yeah. But you see, they're equipped with the quick cuffs there, the zip ties, and they got plenty of them. So, peaceful protest is great, but this is the same thing. I mean, you may as
snap.
You may as well be protesting like paying your taxes at this point. It's going to be completely fucking moot, just like protesting this.
I mean, I could get down with the protest to not pay taxes, though. And we could do something about that, though. I mean, realistically, it's funny because I've talked about it before. If you were really unhappy with the federal government as a country,
sure,
we could unite as a country and say, hey, you know what? If we're not happy with the way they're spending our tax dollars, we could just all claim tax exempt. In 3 months, it would severely hinder the United States government on their capabilities of really doing anything, right? Because that's a significant portion of their yearly revenue. We definitely would be operating at a significant deficit at that point.
Here's the scary thing about that. And, no matter how you voted, people out there talking to you, no matter how you voted and what you believe or whatever, I'll tell you the most terrifying thing I've ever heard in my life came from Joe Biden. Which is to say something, because I think that guy struggled to brush his teeth in the morning, to be honest with you. But the most terrifying thing that he ever said is he said to a reporter that asked him one time, he says, well, do you not, have any respect for the Second Amendment? And he said, well, the Second Amendment's kind of pointless. And the reporter just kind of went back in. We should find this clip and play this, and you'll see what I mean. Because he said, well, the Second Amendment was. The reporter corrects him and says, well, the Second Amendment is designed to protect us from you, the government. And Biden turned around and said, in the most gangster move I've ever seen from any president, Biden said, well, if that's the case, then you better get yourself some F-15s and some nuclear weapons, because there's no protecting from the federal government.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Remember that one? And it's like, there's this punchy old fuck with his stupid things, but then you stop and you think about that. It's like, what a big fucking statement of bravado from this motherfucker.
This might be it right here, actually.
University makes it possible.
Oh, I love you, YouTube.
Thomas come make a break.
Right now, you can't go out and buy an automatic weapon. You can't go out and buy a cannon. And for those right-wing Americans who say it's all about keeping America's independent and safe, if you want to fight against the country, you need an F-15. You need something a little more than a gun.
Jesus.
No, I'm not joking. Think about this. Think about
the
rationale
he said it.
That's you.
Yeah, it's in that same time frame. That was almost the same quote right there. It's like, imagine that, like this guy, and everybody who thinks, that he is somehow, the best choice back,
Unbelievable.
In right in your face, you just had the most tyrannical thing said by a U.S. president ever in history.
And nobody even, it literally made news headlines for like a day
it's
or
okay.
two.
That's fine. Just don't be mean. Don't send mean tweets.
Yeah.
Don't enforce federal laws and send people home that are here illegally. And yet, Trump is Hitler, or, the Bushes were Hitler. Everybody is Hitler. But this guy right here who just said that, not Hitler. Okay.
Yeah, that's insane.
Mind-boggling.
No G. I'm looking at these posters here, and okay, I see the fuck ice one. That makes sense. But what is no G? No, it's ice.
No, they have the cross
ice,
through there. Yeah,
it's like no G. What, they don't want gangstas? It's like, this is LA, man. You got a lot of work if you don't want gangstas there.
Oh my God, this is so crazy.
Yeah, I guess that was like those pictures you used to see at the mall. If you stare at it for a little while, and then it turns into like a ship or a lion or something.
Right.
If I stared at that sign too long, it started to show something else. Hey, you guys keep going. I'm going to the bathroom. We've been at this for a while.
Yeah, go ahead. No views on YouTube. What a bummer. 3,000 subscribers. Not one of you guys wants to tune into this awesome show. What's happening, brother? Yeah, we're just kind of seeing what's going on live here. We'll go big screen with it. We're just kind of reading some of the stuff that's going on. But if you haven't seen, rioters blocked the 101 completely. Officers did a good job stacking. It escalated quite a bit as far as the amount of people that were there before they tried to venture to the other side, which is when officers moved in. They've now cleared the 101 completely. Looks like for the most part just using smoke, and have now backed them up the on-ramp. So slowly but surely they're gaining control, but these people are not just disappearing. There are thousands of people in the streets. They have probably made 20 to 25 arrests, I would imagine, in the meantime. What do you think, Evan?
I think they're going to slowly break it down, because it really doesn't look like it's ramping up. It looks like the police and the SWAT and all the people are just slowly pushing people back, and hopefully no one does anything stupid.
Too late.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's funny, they just arrested like 4 women. Actually,
I saw a bunch of women.
I saw titties.
It's like, what are you guys doing down there? Like 5 foot. The one's like 5'2", 130 pounds. Like
now, in their defense, I've had a 5 foot nothing, Latina very angry with me. So let's not rule it out. Like it's, I think, the 7th most powerful force on the planet. So let's not rule it out.
Oh my gosh.
But maybe it's time for a song. Ready?
You're having way too much fun.
We will rock you.
Get the band back together.
Let's do it. Jeez. All 3 of our live viewers right now would join us, I'm sure.
All right, let's hear it. We got some volume going on. What do we got going? Just a little chaos. I heard I have a family. You know, they've done a great job of clearing this. I'm interested to where these people are going next. Like, are they just going to the next on-ramp? It's like down there already, you know?
Yeah. It's a little surprising that they were able to take the on-ramp in the first place. Like, CHP is usually pretty tight out there.
I would say that I actually surprised how fast these guys just cleared this. I mean, they did it in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people. So once again, the good news is that means most of the people that are down there are just down there.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to get arrested. They don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, they thought it was cool that somebody decided to block the highway, thought they could join in. Which kudos, the first 20 people that crossed into the middle of the highway, good for them to fucking have the balls to do that. They were probably the first ones to bounce too.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
our work's done here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, these for the most part, these people don't want trouble. But when it comes to all these fucking signs, fuck ICE and no ICE, like, why is this your battle? Unless you're an illegal immigrant.
Right.
Then so long.
I mean, I understand, like, there could be people here that were natural born. They were naturalized here by birth, and maybe their parents are
Illegal.
subject to being deported. Like, I could understand that.
But if you're so unhappy with our president and our country and our laws, then leave.
That's always an option.
It's always an option.
Yeah.
It's the beautiful thing. It's like, you know, right now, like, people are like, so many people arguing. Oh, there goes another one. What is this a man or a woman?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Is he wearing a tennis ball?
I don't know what he's got going on.
Is that a green cowboy hat?
It does. It is. Is it? He's kind of jogging a little bit. He's a little. It's like, this is awesome. Are you gonna beat me? Can you beat me right now? I love getting beat.
Oh man.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. We went live. Thinking we might get a couple of people to pop in. Just wanted to see what was going on in the riots out in California. We wanted to do a show about Ireland, but I think we're going to put that off because we can actually have a good conversation. Maybe we'll have Max or Scott join us virtually for that one.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be interesting.
And talk about good memories. Look at this guy's backpack. Get out of here. You got a Yeti and a green fucking... He's like, I fucked up, bro.
Is it a Luigi? A Luigi hat?
He's like, I didn't mean it. It wasn't me.
I was kidding.
Anything I can do to get out of this right now?
I'll suck your dick. It's like, it was not me. It was the one-armed man.
Holy smokes. Oh, there goes another one.
Yeah.
Is that a woman or a man? That's what I want to know.
That's a woman. I'm
Are you
pretty
sure?
I
That looks like a dude.
It looks like a dude.
It looks like a dude with nice hair and leave-in conditioner.
Yes.
But I like, no, he's just not hands-on or anything. He's like, yeah, dude, this is like my 14th arrest this week. It's cool.
I just travel the country and join protests and riots.
Yeah.
I just... Ugh.
Yeah. That's, well, it'll be interesting to see if this carries over during the week. So back to, Evan, you asked earlier about like, what would they do from like a public safety perspective out here? The business in this area is mostly courthouses, prisons,
office buildings,
a lot of legal office buildings. There's a ton of law firms and everything that are all right in this general area here. But so during the week, like So it's Sunday. So this is mostly like commuter traffic, people probably coming and going to their families, coming home, whatever. But on a Monday or Tuesday, this would stop business out there. And I think they wouldn't have allowed this to happen on a weekday for those reasons.
Well, we're going to find out because they've been going at it for 3 days. Like, this isn't going to stop. The fact that there's this many illegal immigrants in our country just kind of tells you, like, how far this could really expand. Because Mr. and Mrs. Smith are not down there protesting this right now. For the most part, it's the clinically insane that are down there, or the folks that have had family members deported because they're illegal, or they are worried about themselves. And when you have the numbers, that's one thing. But as we've seen, multiple people have been detained over the course of this, last hour or so. If you're an illegal immigrant, like, that's it. That's how you went down.
Yeah.
Well,
I would argue also to say that Senor and Senora Hernandez that came over here legally,
sure,
they're also not down there. They're sitting here with us watching this on TV like, you motherfuckers
are costing us money.
Yeah.
Our tax dollars.
Those are some of the most proudest Americans I've ever met, are people that have come here and did it the right way. Like,
yeah, and I think that's the issue with this.
Oh, here we go.
No, my disappointment is I've been talking to the federal government for days. I was hoping to prevent this situation from happening. I was trying to encourage the administration that if they deployed the National Guard in Los Angeles, it would create a sense of chaos. It's the last thing our city needs. Our city is still trying to recover from the wildfires. And you just think about how so many people were impacted by that. And that's an example of where the administration was helpful. And to go from that situation to where we are now is just really tragic. And I think it's so unfortunate. It's the last thing Los Angeles needs.
When you say you've reached out to the federal government, do you have you reached to President Trump?
No, I did not reach out to President Trump directly. I spoke to his chief of staff. I talked to Tom Holman. I talked to the U.S. Attorney. So I've talked to several members of the administration.
Next question, Matthew. Yeah, I know you've been watching this protest. First off, what do you see when you're watching this? And I know that you've mentioned being worried about the safety of the protesters, but are you also worried about members of law enforcement in the middle of this?
Well, I'm worried about everybody. I'm worried about members of law enforcement. I'm worried about the safety of the people who are peacefully protesting. I'm worried about the businesses that might get vandalized. I'm worried about the vandalism that took place around the federal building. All of that. We do not need to see our city torn apart.
So condemn it.
The idea that the federal government that should be assisting us is a contributing factor. I think is very tragic. When I see the protesters, I know that so many people are affected by this. Their families are affected by this. People are terrified.
How do you think that vandalism impacts the overall message of the protest?
Well, I mean, I first of all, I think protests need to be peaceful, period. And anytime it deteriorates into violence, that is a problem, and it absolutely messes with the overall message.
Next question right here in white.
Yeah, hi Mayor. George with Reuters. My question is, can you share a little bit about the conversations you've had with the governor, and how long you expect for the National Guard to actually be in Los Angeles?
You know what? Thanks for asking me that, because we're hearing all sorts of information. We're hearing that the raids could continue. We're hearing that the National Guard is going to be here. So it's uncertain. But that's exactly the problem. Because we don't need in this city to go to sleep tonight and wake up in the morning and find out about people running through Home Depot parking lots being chased by ICE officers, or people going to work, or children at school. So we don't need any of that in our city right now. Our city's trying to heal. Our city is trying to rebuild. Our city does not need to be torn apart with a provocative measure from the federal government.
Why settle for
and this
good
is the problem.
when
Like,
you
they're
can go
looking at it
grand
like it's a bad
at
thing. Like,
MGM
they're out
Grand
there,
Detroit.
doing something that they're not supposed to be doing when they're ultimately just trying to help the scenario. And this is the issue with a lot of government
And they will be
is.
held accountable. It's as simple as that. So peaceful protest is what is needed. Peaceful protest is a part of our American tradition.
Mayor, last night the U.S. Attorney seemed resolute that these raids would continue regardless of what's happened over the last 2 or 3 days. In your conversations with him, has there been any kind of attempted compromise or somehow lowering the temperature, at least till things cool off locally if they want to continue, or are they just doing it regardless of how everyone else feels?
Well, I mean, I think what we see now is they're doing it regardless of how anyone else feels. My conversation with the U.S. Attorney, though, was not focused on that.
We're going to go with Frank?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, hi, Frank.
It appears that the LAPD is cooperating with ICE in this operation outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. They moved in, there was a peaceful protest. The LAPD moved the people back using flashbang and less lethal munitions. Comment on that, because
Sure.
the LAPD is not supposed to be cooperating with ICE.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm not sure that LAPD was involved with the flashbangs. But anyway, let me just say
Pretty
that
sure
what
that was all
happened there
LAPD.
is that when one branch of law enforcement says they need help, another branch of law enforcement is going to respond and is obligated to respond. And so the minute that protest left the federal building, then that's when LAPD were involved. So the cooperation that you're referring to, I believe, is the cooperation around coordinating with ICE in terms of raiding workplaces or arresting people who are undocumented.
Right here in the group.
Hi, what's your exact understanding of the timeline for how long the National Guard's going to be here? How long the raids are going to continue? Is it going to be daily raids?
I have no exact timeline. I cannot tell you that.
Can you
That's
pull
one
up
of
what the
problems,
raids
right?
actually
We do
entailed?
not
Because
know.
from what I understand,
I
it
have
was
heard a
literally just them
variety
raiding a
of
Home
days and
Depot parking
weeks.
lot
I certainly
yesterday
hope that
morning or
this
2
is
mornings
over.
ago.
The last
Did
thing
they
the
didn't
city
go
needs
house to
is
house or
civil
anything to
unrest.
that nature, I don't
And the
believe.
last thing the city
So see if you guys
needs
can
is
find
civil
something on how the
unrest
raids
and
actually
civil-
began.
Take
Instead
that
of-
on,
instead of-
Evan. Yeah, because I'm
instead-
looking at something else here.
Yeah.
Bullets into the ground, but in some cases directly at protesters. Can you speak about what kind of orders they're under in terms of handling peaceful protests?
I can't in terms of the specific orders that are being given by the chief or the other commanding officers.
So, Mayor, will you be speaking then to Chief McDonald? or
I'm going to
anyone
speak to him in the
else?
next few minutes.
Okay, great.
Yes,
So
I'm
what is
leaving
in
from
the
here
plan?
to meet with him.
Great. What is in the plan for tomorrow? Because let's say presumably this does not end.
Right. Well, you know, I think one thing is that because our city has
Hey, if you're just
always
popping
had
in on
a very
YouTube or
robust
Facebook,
immigrant rights
we were recording our
movement
Guys
and
Night podcast
infrastructure
tonight,
and institutions
and
that have been around
stumbled
for
across the
several
101 being
decades.
completely
There
blocked
is
in
a
California
history
as
of having
anti-immigration
peaceful
protests have gotten out of control
now,
down
you
there.
know, like any crowd, if we're talking
it has
about
since
after an
been,
athletic event, everybody celebrates. There's always a
disengaged to
handful
a
of
sense,
people that tend
whatever
to
the
be
word
at
I'm
the
looking
end
for,
that
but
tend to hang around
the protests
and might
are
get
still
into
actively.
mischief
The mayor's
and
speaking
violence.
now.
But that's not the people who are putting on the protests. I tell you that to say that when those protests have been organized, they've been organized in a proper way. The problem is what happens at the end, and that's one thing that is difficult with crowd control, whether it is a political protest or whether it is a football game.
Did you say you talked to Tom Holman?
A football
Yes, I
game.
did talk to Tom Holman.
What did he tell you?
Well, he just listened. I mean, the main thing he said was he appreciated that there was a call for no violence. I'm not exactly sure what was expected, but, you know, I was encouraging him not to deploy the National Guard. I knew that the order had been given. The president had signed the order to the governor that he was federalizing the National Guard, that 2,000 troops were going to be deployed, but that didn't mean that they would actually be deployed onto our streets. So my conversation with him was trying to encourage to prevent the deployment. Obviously, that did not work.
And just to be clear, are you meeting with the police chief and anybody else, or just the police chief?
The police chief, the sheriff, and the governor.
Quickly, Mayor, when you talk about peaceful protests, we're hearing the noises outside as this crowd is getting closer and presumably more violent as they're coming up through the streets here. I know it's nice to talk about peaceful protests.
That's not peaceful, what was happening. It's not peaceful for people to be on the highways. It's not peaceful for people to throw rocks or bottles. That's not
Okay, so
peaceful.
she's at least.
How do we reconcile the difference? Obviously, there's
This
frustration
event that's
from the
not peaceful.
administration and the feds, but as LAPD and the Sheriff's Department try to distance themselves from the actions of these immigration, actions and work being done, they're against authority in a lot of ways. They're standing outside City Hall,
Yeah.
which is your office. It's not necessarily against you. How do you distance yourself, but also kind of try to keep it peaceful at a time where it's anti-authority?
Well, and let me just tell you
Hold
that
on
I
one
don't
second.
think
Yeah, I
there's
wanna hear
any equivocating on nonviolence. And if you are going to entertain violence, if you are going to try to take over a freeway, then you are going to suffer the consequences of doing that. I don't think that LAPD, the sheriff, and certainly not myself, are not shying away from statements like that.
Any details about what the National Guard mission is going to be?
I'm sorry?
Any details about what the National Guard mission is going to be within LA, where they're going to be deployed?
Well, what I know right now is that the mission of the National Guard is to protect federal property and the federal building, which is why you have only seen them there. You have not seen them out in the community or anything like that. And just in terms of, to close, to wrap up, I just have to say that, again, our city has been through a lot since the beginning of the year. And now thinking that there is a large percentage of our city that is terrified, that is not going to know if they go to sleep tonight and they go to work or they go to school, will that be the last day they do that? Will that be the last day they see their family? We can't have this in our city.
They're illegal immigrants. It's time for them to go. You can't have that in your city. Los Angeles would be a great place if you eliminated 20% of the illegal immigrants. Not to mention the housing would probably become a little bit more affordable for just a few minutes.
But the most important thing right now is that our city be peaceful. And so protests and expressing your, fears, your beliefs, is appropriate to do, but it is just not appropriate for there to be violence. And I don't want people to fall into the chaos that I believe is being created by the administration completely unnecessarily. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm surprised she stuck around that much.
Yeah, but I'm surprised that she actually kind of condemned most of the stuff that these guys were doing. You hear the stuff going off right outside the building. Here we got the live scene. It's insanely chaotic right now. Here, you just cleared all those people off the highway. Where do you think they're going to go back to?
They're in the streets.
And inside the city is where you can hide in darkness, where you can get away. That highway really left them vulnerable, which is why it was so quick to clear out. But over time, as we've watched this, and for you guys tuning in, we're live at the California riots. The 101 was closed earlier this afternoon while we were recording a podcast, so we figured, let's pull live on this and see what happens, because it's escalating pretty quickly. Since then, LAPD did a tremendous job of clearing the 101, backing up the protesters up the ramp. The mayor just spoke, condemned everything that they were essentially doing when it comes to throwing glass bottles, vandalizing, But,
however, she did say that ICE should not be there and should not be removing illegals.
Correct. And that is obviously where it becomes the issue. And now you can see they're blocking city roads. This is going to be a problem. This is, 7 o'clock? No, I'm sorry, 5 o'clock. So it's still afternoon there. National Guard has been deployed. They haven't shown National Guard, so I'd be interested to see some of the federal buildings right now and where they're at. But, we're going to see what happens with this along the way.
So we got to talk about Karen Bass for a minute here.
Hold on a second. I got to take a leak while we're live. You guys can talk about
leak.
Well,
did you get some information for us, Evan?
No, I just sent it to you on the Guys Night podcast. Nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, this is going to go on all night. You got that many people down there.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that? Did you see that in the background? Is that? Hold on a second.
I don't know. Let's see. See a mounted unit.
No. Hold on a second. It was when they were looking up the road, but I can't. There it is. What? I think this is where. Watch. Look at this. Oh, I thought that was like a mounted fucking 50 cal in the back of that truck. I was like, did you see that? Like, what the fuck?
So, let's talk about.
Yeah, let me mute this. Oh, it's already muted.
Let's talk about. Can you bring that volume down?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay, I was gonna say it's like really loud in my ears. I don't know about you guys.
Not so loud.
Let's talk about Mayor Karen Bass. What do you guys know about her?
I know literally zero about Karen Bass.
Nothing.
Not an educated Southern California anymore.
This woman. So she, I believe her initial education was in healthcare. She was like a nurse practitioner, I want to say. Born and raised Southern California. Nurse, pretty sure was a nurse practitioner. Physician's assistant, so very similar. Anyway, when you're new at that job, let's say 10 years or less, that's about $160,000 a year job. Under $200,000 for that job. It's a well-paying job.
Unless you're in California.
Unless you're in California. She graduated from Cal State Dominguez Hills, which is kind of like the lower cost Cal State school, and then I think she ended up at SC. She went into politics in 2004. She ran and took a seat in the state assembly. Any guesses as to whose presidential campaign she worked on in 2008?
No idea.
Barack Obama.
Really?
Really. He endorsed her for her representative. So she was Congresswoman 2010, 2012. As a freshman Congresswoman, she was appointed to the Council of Foreign Relations, which is not something that people early in their congressional career are appointed to. However, she worked on Obama's campaign. Obama appointed her to something that was called the AGOA, which is the African Growth and Opportunity Act. Now, all of this stuff is things that gets hidden in bills and passed. It's an interesting one to go and look at that. It's like, well, what the fuck is the African Growth and Opportunity Act? And if you go and you Google that, you'll see that there were various times throughout Obama's career where that was a big issue, and it didn't really make much sense because what's going on during his tenure? We had a housing crisis, we had an economic crisis, we had the rise of Black Lives Matters. You had all this social justice shit going on, but behind the scenes with all of this is you had all these like weird delegations with Africa, and you had all this unusual trade with Africa that just doesn't make any sense. Well, if you go and you search that thing, the AGOA, and you look through it, it establishes free trade. So similar to how we had NAFTA, which was the North American Free Trade Act, where we were able to move product and ship things between Canada and Mexico and the U.S. without tariffs, without inspection, blah, blah, blah. Well, this exists for this, and there's a very lengthy, very interesting list of things that are produced in Africa or traded with Africa. A lot of things, a lot of unusual things. Things like cocaine, for instance, are on this list of things that could be traded.
Really?
So really, I'm not making this up. You can search all of it. So I'm kind of going down this road because it's very interesting that, so she eventually doesn't win after I forget when it was that she ran for mayor, I think in 22. But so there's a little bit of a gap where, you know, she's doing whatever, working on, you know, probably Biden's campaign, whatever, personal friend of Kamala Harris, blah, 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 blah. So this woman went from very humble origins growing up in Los Angeles, started working a job, went to college, got an education, good for her,
Right.
couple $100,000 a year. She then went on to the state assembly, a state assembly person in California during the time she worked there. It's about a $90,000 a year salary. You get some perks and whatever. Now, she was the one who was in Africa when the fires broke out, and that was all over the news, and it was a big deal.
Right,
She got interviewed off the plane by the Australian guy and all of that. And it was like, well, what the hell is the mayor of Los Angeles doing in Africa during this, you know, major disaster?
Right.
And it turns out that she was there on a favor, you know, she was at an inauguration as a, you know, envoy for Biden, really by way of Obama. Like, it's like, why this person? Like, this person grew up, she grew up like, you know, in like 40 minutes away from where I grew up. Like, it's not like, you know, she was really DC born or anything. But anyway, so fast forward. So she gets her assembly spot. She goes into Congress, and congressperson in California, that's, you know, maybe 180,000 top tier pay. And then now she's the mayor of Los Angeles, which is, with pay and perks and everything, is somewhere, you know, around $350,000 a year.
That's crazy.
Any idea what her net worth is?
Probably like $5 million.
No,
It's a lot.
I was gonna say, are you gonna tell me she's like north of $20 million or something?
She's close to that. Her net worth is somewhere around $15 million somehow.
Jesus.
So interesting, right? And this is the person that was just now on TV saying that ICE should not be out there doing what they're doing.
Right. Well, and that's, I mean, once again, like, it's all politics, right? So completely bipartisan blame on both sides when it comes to nobody being above reproach when it comes to what they're taking money on, what deals that they're trying to get done and approved. And unfortunately, that's a large issue with our politics in general. It's once money got involved. You know, it's funny. I saw a clip the other day. It was like Joe Rogan on the Tom Green show. Do you guys remember Tom Green?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So he had like this little newscast, like it was like a late night show kind of thing.
I remember that.
And, you know, Rogan was on there. He talked about, he's like, the problem with the news is like once advertising became a part of it, you had to be careful of what you said, who you talked to, who you had on. You had to have a certain point of view based off of your advertising dollars. Otherwise, you would lose your advertising dollars, right? And then talent became so priced over so high. So he's like, one day somebody should create a thing where you just talk to people with like no bias. And I was like, it's crazy to think of what that turned into. I think actually Joe Rogan shared it on one of his Twitter accounts or X. But you know, as we see this today, like everybody's covering this from a different perspective. For me, it's more so us looking at it as like this is just a problem in our country. Like, why is this a priority that we're fighting against legal immigration or people being deported over being illegal immigrants? Like, yes, is there going to be some sad stories? Are there going to be some good people? Absolutely.
Going to be people wrongfully detained. I mean, that's going to happen.
Right. Like, those are things that are going to take place, you know, for everybody that's out there saying, be careful. You might not think they're going to get you, but they're not. Like, realistically, ICE isn't out there trying to find everyday tax-paying citizens that either are citizens by right or by legal entry and deport them. That's not their goal. That's not what they're trying to do.
So,
frankly, most immigrants or legal immigrants are probably at the bottom of that deportation list. If they're going into a Home Depot area, most likely it's because they've got a couple of key targets that are in that vicinity that they're expecting to try and arrest. And if other people are in the way, then they're in the way. Yes, do they want to get rid of illegal immigrants? Of course, that's the whole point of ICE. But they're not doing. I don't feel that they're out there trying to do it in a way that's, you know, like they want to hurt people and change people's. You know, that's not the instance.
Here's
this. What's happening now, though, is you see destruction is not the right way to go about it.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
This is insane. Now we got cars on fire in the streets. And once again, for those that are listening, like, this is the kind of stuff that creates copycatters.
Is that the Waymo
Are those
car?
the Waymo cars?
Yeah.
Are they just catching them on fire and hoping they keep driving around on fire? I wonder.
So what
Or
happens?
they shut off automatically.
Yeah, they shut off. When any of this was going on. So I was doing a video with Waymo when I was down there.
This is fucking ridiculous.
They basically got all the cars out of the area that they can, and when they couldn't, they just shut them down.
Yeah, I mean, at what point are you gonna do something like?
Well, yeah, and this is no longer. This doesn't even make any sense now, because now you're just fucking up the local economy down there. Like, what's the point?
Right, that's what they're saying.
That's actually very true. Those batteries inside that car will eventually explode.
I don't see any officers in this area right now.
I just hear no.
No, the Waymo. If you're tuning in, we're live right now. We were recording an episode of the podcast this evening when the riots broke out or protests, I should say, broke out in Southern California and LA. They blocked the 101 earlier. Police quickly stopped that, broke it down. It's now went back into the city. As you can see, there's setting Waymo, poor little Waymo cars, just trying to get you to work tomorrow morning, are on fire in the middle of the street. So while we're protesting illegal immigration, we're going to cost the state of California, which, mind you, the one thing the mayor did say was we just went through a scenario recently with the wildfires. Yeah, so this is what you're saying. Like, this is not okay. Like, nobody in California in a government position should be like, listen, we respect your right to protest. It's time to go home. Message been heard. You're causing damage. We're already fighting for the locals that have gone through the firefights. Yeah. It's time to end this today. Give it 5 or 6 days. Let's get this cleaned up. Let's get people get back to work. Nobody's here to stop you from protesting in the future, but there's a right and a wrong way for us to make noise, and this isn't it. Yeah. Anybody, you're more than welcome to have your own opinion, whether it's to hate on our government, to hate on Trump, to hate on the protocol. If you're an illegal immigrant, of course you're going to hate them cracking down on illegal immigration. But this isn't the right way to go about it. Like, what is this guy even doing? I don't even know what he's hitting.
He's hitting the LiDAR. That's the thing on the top.
Oh, yeah. He's trying so hard. He's very disappointed that he couldn't get it off.
Yeah. So 5, maybe 6 days ago, they had this happen in Minneapolis. And if you go back and look at it, like, all the news, everybody, ICE raids, they're protesting the ICE raids, blah, blah, blah. And then, they had a mob, and, this is Minneapolis. We're just talking about George Floyd.
Yeah, I didn't even know they had something there a couple of days ago.
So, of course, media picked up on it, put it out there and everything. And then what they found out afterward was that it wasn't even ICE. It was HSI. They were hitting a restaurant, and they arrested 3 people and rescued, I think, 10 human trafficking victims in this restaurant.
Jesus.
And so, of course, they had federal vehicles. They had FBI tactical out there as backup and everything. They made the assumption that it was, I think they just got a blast out of that car. But anyway, so, yeah, there's not been any major corrections. But, now, of course, the lovely governor up there, maybe you've heard of him, Tim Balls. Balls.
Gotta love Tim Balls.
Tim Balls.
Tampon Tim. That was probably the funniest nickname ever given. Like, regardless of you like Trump or not, it's fucking hilarious.
Well, Tampon Tim is now, we're going to do an investigation to see, how that was handled, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what's the point? You had people that were breaking the law, and they were breaking federal laws. And when you break federal laws, you get arrested by the feds. That's how that turns out. So that's the thing that's pointless with, Mayor Bass. Like, she doesn't, again, we go back to posse comitatus.
Sure.
Like, if you have federal crimes being committed, which being here illegally is a federal crime, that's up to the federal government to
prosecute.
Yep.
Excellent. And here's the thing. National Guard wouldn't have been needed if you just allowed them to do it. They attacked a federal building,
right?
Which gave Trump the ability to send in that National Guard to protect that building.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was reading that article. That's really based around the Air Force and Army primarily, and that the Marines, Navy, and National Guard all fall under kind of different orders. I mean, I'd be interested to see how that broke down. But Trump has every right to send in the National Guard, and hopefully this is sending a message to other states and cities like, don't let this happen, or we're gonna correct it. I'll be interested to see what the total amount of arrests are. Have you found any information out over there?
I sent it to you.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking through my stuff.
You're on Facebook.
Yeah.
We need to put a camera on his computer.
All times. I'm going to put one up.
I literally sent you the information. I told you 3 times.
Well, why don't you just share it? Talk about it.
Yeah.
Because
be part of the Guys Night podcast.
I am answering questions and stuff.
What'd you find? I didn't get anything from you.
Oh. Well, you didn't tell me you guys wanted it bold.
Let's talk about it. What'd you find?
What did I find?
Yeah.
Stuff.
Here goes the McDonald's theme again.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of Karen Bass, if you guys couldn't tell. There's a recall effort for her. I'm not sure where it's at nowadays, but they're trying. With these motherfuckers, like, just goes to show, like, these people are not out here protesting anything. These guys are just out here destroying shit.
Right. I did have somebody reach out to me and say they would love to sign a protest or anti-protest in the square. Let's see. I don't see anything where you sent me a message, Evan.
Guys Night Podcast Messenger.
I'm looking at it.
It's popping up right here. Guys Night Podcast.
What did you send it on, buddy?
Facebook.
Oh, he just went down to 0 viewers. What a shame. Inbox. I have nothing from you. Oh, there it is.
What does it say? What?
ICE agents. Did you just populate the first thing that you found and send it to me?
No, there's like 3 or 4 different things. There's a video of YouTube, and then there's 2 news
Several
articles.
day laborers were detained by immigration agents Friday.
Yeah, it looks like they're just. Looks like they're. What's it called?
My friend started yelling "ice, ice, ice." One witness described. I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. Then I saw all the day laborers starting to run.
Jesus. Yeah, but it looks like they're at Home Depot supplying for the day, and they're just illegal immigrants, and they cited there was what's it called, ICE across the street. Just hanging out.
ICE arrests aliens who commit crimes and other individuals who have violated our nation's immigration laws, the agency said in a statement. All aliens in violation of U.S. immigration law may be subject to arrest, detention, and if found, removable by final order, removed from the United States, regardless of nationality. And here's another aspect of it. They talk about no due process. First of all, everybody that's saying that, they don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
They may not even understand what the definition of due process is.
Correct, right? It's like in this situation, when all you have to do is prove in a reasonable time and manner that they committed a crime,
right?
And it doesn't have to go. It doesn't have. It's not everybody's allowed a trial and jury by peers in order to be deported. Let's actually look that up because I'm interested to see
what
the law is on that as far as what's considered.
While you're looking that up, I would just quickly point out back there that not only did Karen Bass completely fail during the wildfires,
God, that's fucking getting crazy.
She can't even manage to get a fire put out of a fucking Waymo.
You're going to be on that all night.
Oh, she is a see you next Tuesday. I do not care for her at all. She needs to go. She's got enough money. She can fucking go away. Need to get somebody back into that seat there. It's able to do the job.
Individuals must be informed of specific charges. Okay. Right to hearing. That generally involves a hearing before an immigration judge where the individual can present evidence to make a case. Individuals have the right to present evidence, call witnesses, and make arguments. Individuals have the right to representation. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't see how you can not expedite that. Expedite undocumented immigrants apprehended within 100 miles of the U.S. border and who have been in country for less than 2 years may be subject to expedited removal, which does not involve a hearing before a judge. However, even in these cases, individuals are entitled to some level of due process, including the right to present evidence and make a case that they should not be removed.
That would be, yeah, and you're going right into it there. So like in the case of asylum seekers, which every person that's coming across the border has been trained to say, you need to say that you're seeking asylum, that your life is in danger, that if you are returned, you're going to be killed, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So that's the due process of those that come across and seek asylum. So the people that are being rounded up and detained, these are people from a list. These are not, there could be a case of like you're outside the Home Depot and here's day laborers and you witness somebody, you see somebody who you believe is on a list, or you identify somebody by, their appearance. Or, let's say that in the good old days, the ancient days of, 8 years ago, sheriff's department's driving, stop somebody for a traffic violation and they can't produce a driver license. And they also can't produce a social security number or anything to prove that they're a U.S. citizen. Now you have an issue with identifying the person. So, during all of Biden's administration, those people are just let go. I mean, even here, like just this far north of the border, like people that are undocumented, no license, we don't have anything to do with them. We're just going to arrest them and sit them in jail until we figure it out.
Well, and this is insane because there's not even anybody down there right now as far as
like
law enforcement I can see.
That one guy's about to go shopping, looks like.
Well, that's what's going to happen next.
Oh, yeah. They're going to start
100% going to start looting. Especially as the lights go down.
Well, there can't be any officers out here to do anything because they're all over on the fucking highway trying to, keep people off the 101. But yeah, it's not even safe to send in the fire department or anything. By the way, just a quick side note, those Waymos, they're Jaguar, fully electric cars. They're pretty badass cars, first of all. Second of all, do you know how they put the fires out? I actually know this from...
They have to let them burn.
No, it's an electrical car. Can't it be smothered or something like that?
They use a blanket.
Yeah.
They use a blanket, but they also look at it, too, where it's like, okay, is this thing likely to catch a building or something on fire? No, let's let it burn.
Yeah.
Because the danger, because you literally have to have firemen lift the blanket and put it so you get one guy on each corner and they literally lay it down
over top of them. That's pretty intense too. Like if you're a passerby, like
look at this guy's throwing more fuel on the fire there.
Is he really?
I don't know what he just threw, but these fuckers.
Yeah,
I mean, there's trees right there, guys. I'll run to Home Depot, which is where all these guys came from anyway, and I'll go get some rope. We can address this right now.
I mean, this is insane because, one, you just went through all these fires. Like, God knows it's easy enough to start a forest fire or any kind of fire in California, right?
Yeah.
Two, these are just regular people that are walking around here. Like, why are you involving yourselves into this disaster? It's only a matter of time before something too violent happens, and then you have to be a stamp.
It is a little wild that all of these Waymo cars, like there's several of them. It's a little